These are the major answers that could have a pretty large impact on the college football galaxy. And I want to start in Gainesville, Florida. What if the answer is yes, Florida's offense does have real versatility now with added weapons for Graham Mertz? Because the offensive line now, it's a major question mark for a number of reasons, right? Like, you got to protect your quarterback. You know what would make their job easier? Dudes getting open quickly. And Eugene Wilson, I've said many times, I think he might be one of the best playmakers in all of college football, not just the SEC. Luther Burden also in that conversation, obviously. But you also went out and got Eli Badger from Arizona State. You went out and got yourself a Shamir Dike from Wisconsin, who's Graham Mertz's guy, who got really good reviews from the spring. If all those guys mesh together well in this system and get on the same page with Graham Mertz, and you got a three-headed passing attack, and you factor in Montrell Johnson, and all of those weapons kind of mix together seamlessly, that takes a lot off the offensive line's plate. Because there's a big difference in blocking for 3.5 seconds and 2.5 seconds. Like, if I can get my guy open right away, 3 steps, balls out, like that's a good way to live if you're the Florida offense. The reason why that's impactful, Florida scored 26 points a game last year. If they can be north of that and be in the 30 points a game, they're going to be a major disruptor. Like, looking at Florida's schedule, I see 7 college football playoff contenders on the slate. All right, now I don't think all 7 of those teams just logistically will be able to make the college football playoff. That would say a lot. But let's say Florida catches one of those teams in November. Disruptor. Not saying they win the SEC. I'm just saying the disrupting potential that Florida has is unmatched, and them having real versatility on offense would change the picture, I believe, when it comes to the college football playoff. Here's another one. Another answer for you. The answer is no. Ohio State's offensive line play is not the governor on what they can be as a football team. Because the defense, I don't think anybody right now on paper looks at that unit and says, yeah, all right. I mean, they're mid. No, they brought back everybody and then some. They brought back JT Tuimoloau, Jack Sawyer, got Caleb Downs. Like, you've heard me talk a lot about these guys. Denzel Burke. They got dudes on the defensive side of the football. You went out and also got Will Howard and Quinshon Judkins. I've said my piece on Will Howard. Don't need to say anymore. Think he's going to be more than fine. Quinshon Judkins adds another level of durability to your running game. And so the way I look at Ohio State's offense is the same way I've looked at it for the course of the last however many Julys, really since Ryan Day's been there, and probably even before that. They have a Ferrari on offense. They do. Can you keep from having flat tires on that Ferrari? Because if you have the best wide receiver core in America, that's phenomenal. I wouldn't disagree with you. You got Jeremiah Smith, who's going to be a stud, all-true freshman. They got Emeka Egbuka, who's a 1,000-yard receiver when he's healthy. They got dudes now. Carnell Tate's going to pop this year. They got a lot of guys. But if you can't protect Will Howard, and if you can't block effectively to let that best backfield in America cook, we got problems. Now, again, I'm answering the question, telling you I don't think the offensive line play, or in this situation, the offensive line play isn't the governor. Ohio State, in my mind, will be probably living up to their preseason hype and be in that national championship game. Because if Ohio State can just go punishment mode on teams and just get to a game where it's the fourth quarter, they're up by a touchdown, 4 minutes left on the clock, and they just push it down the field and just shove it down your throat play after play after play. Quinshon Judkins, then it's Travion Henderson. Oh, by the way, Will Howard has got some mobility, a big reason why I think he's going to be an upgrade for you. If you can just have that formula for you and have that way of living in your back pocket, Ohio State's going to be really tough to stop, y'all. They are. And I think, quite frankly, that's what Ohio State fans would like to see this offense get back to. And they saw it for a glimpse in that Michigan game. That last drive, or I guess the drive before Michigan answered, Ohio State looked like the enforcer. They looked like the team that was more physical for that drive where Travion Henderson just went chunk play after chunk play, 4-yard 4-yard play, 10-yard gash. Like, you hear what I'm saying. That drive, to me, I thought was pretty transformative and spoke to the progress at Ohio State. And then just to call a spade, you didn't have the quarterback play, and you played a really good defense on the eventual final drive to beat Michigan. But the point stands the same. If you can be at 5 yards a carry, if you're Ohio State, I think that's good enough. The last 3 national champions have had 4.5 yards a carry on the ground over the course of their season. I think 5 is where you need to be if you're Ohio State. So if the offensive line play, if we're answering that as a no, it does not hold Ohio State back, they got some real juice, and that's pretty obvious. I think we all understand how good that roster is. Here's a fun one now. Yes, the Clemson offense did get more explosive from 2023 to 2024. Now, I love Clemson. I'll just be honest. I really like Clemson. I like Dabo Swinney. I like their emphasis on culture. I like the way that they have kind of stuck to their guns, even though I think going with the portal is probably the advantageous route. I digress. It would be, I don't think, a surprise to anybody if Garrett Riley and Cade Klubnik progressed in year 2. Now, how much do they progress? Because they got together last year, and I was telling you I think they're going to manufacture more explosives. I don't think it's so much a Garrett Riley issue, though I'm sure if you're the OC, you have some part to play. I think a lot of it was personnel-driven with their lack of success last year. Also, you're the quarterback, you're Cade Klubnik, we need more from you. They averaged 6 yards a pass in 2023, 4.9 yards a play. Both of those numbers are below 100th in the country. Got to be better. Now, you look at what they have in that wide receiver room this year with Antonio Williams. You hope and pray can stay healthy. I think Tyler Brown's a stud for you. We saw him in person against Florida State. He looked really good. You got Bryant Wesco is going to be a dude for you. You got Moore, who I think is going to be a dude for you. Both those guys are freshmen. They got to translate quickly. If Cade Klubnik can progress with this offense like he needs to, I think the personnel is good enough to allow Clemson to be more explosive. And by more explosive, that's a very broad and vague term. I think they need to be at 6 yards a play, so about a yard improvement, and 8 yards per pass to compete for the conference championship. Say, JD, those are pretty specific numbers. Where are you getting that? That's what Florida State was last year when they won the ACC. The defense is going to be fine for Clemson. I really believe that. Like Dabo Swinney as the head coach, I understand he's at Brent Venables for his defensive coordinator for a long time. He doesn't anymore. That defense still has the personnel to be really successful and to, I think, hold up their end of the bargain. So if they reach those explosivity numbers, the 6 yards of play, the 8 yards of pass, I think Clemson can compete for an ACC championship. In Vegas right now, they have the second best odds to win the conference. Do not sleep on Clemson progressing offensively, being more explosive, and then kind of shaking up that whole conference. Would love to see it. But it's a big if. We need to see it. But that's kind of the question that I think is worth us answering. Now, here's one more. What if the answer is no? Michigan's passing attack did not lose its surprise effect. It's a surprise effect. JD, they ran the football last year. That's who they were. Yes, 110% true. That is their identity. That is who they will be under Sharon Moore. J.J. McCarthy, he's gone. They're still going to run the football. Last year, though, Michigan averaged 8.9 yards a pass. That's good for top 15 in the country. Michigan also had 3 dudes, over 40 receptions on the year and 13 or more yards per catch. That's explosive. It's not saying Michigan's going to be aired out kind of attack. It means that Michigan, if they can have the complement to what they do running the football, that would change the game. And all the discussion on this show, probably, to be honest with you, and going forward on a national level is going to be who's playing quarterback for Michigan. Because that's a real battle now. It's not just them trying to hold their cards close to their vest and saying, oh, we want to keep it a battle so nobody transfers. Like, it's a legit battle. And I think we all got to see that in the spring game. I think Alex Orji probably brings the most pop for you. But if you have a guy like Fred Moore translate and step up and be that number 1 wide receiver, and I'm just saying his name because he popped in that spring game. If you have some dudes in the perimeter that can step up, Davis Warren brings a lot of juice throwing the football downfield. Like I was talking to somebody yesterday, I think he has some J.J. McCarthy-esque kind of qualities when it comes to how he throws the ball. I'm not telling you he's J.J. McCarthy, but I am saying I think he brings that kind of element to the table of if you want to stack the box, God bless you, we're throwing the ball over your head and we'll be north of 8.9 yards a pass yet again. Because if they have that now, I don't see a reason why Michigan can't win the Big Ten. Now, Oregon's going to be incredible. Ohio State's going to be incredible. But if you truly have a multi-dimensional offense and that wide receiver room and Colston Loveland at tight end is able to replenish the production you lost from last year, losing a guy like Cornelius Johnson and Roman Wilson. They're going to be in the mix. People are saying that Michigan's going to fall off the face of the planet. They're entitled to that opinion. I personally disagree. The wide receiver room, the pass catchers, is, I think, the thing to watch here going forward. And if they're able to, like I said, translate how they need to, Michigan's going to be in good shape. So let me know in the comment section, too, what are your answers that you think we might get here to some of the big questions in college football? Hey, y'all, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also, be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.